Well, it's Friday.
You got a case of the Fridays now?
Got a case of the Fridays. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hey.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Is this thing on? I just got my notification that First Sky Omaha is live on YouTube.
Yo.
Did you get yours?
Got my Facebook notification.
There you go.
I also got radio confirmation.
Signals a go.
Fry yay yay.
Yay yay.
Yo. Alright. I think we're on.
Scotty, beam me up.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Move your body, move your body.
Yes, right. Get up, move your body. You got it. You got it. Yay. What do we get? Can we?
You got to start the other way. You got to go
Backwards.
Yeah. Oh, pass it back.
What up? Good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Now with Kid and Play going down right now. Paul Beeee, the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd is going down. And all of you Chat Chimers Ghost listeners, thanks for joining us this Friday, April 28th, 2023. It is Friday. Feels like it's been a long week a little bit for me. So,
really?
A little bit.
Still dragging?
Dragging a little bit. A lot of work had to be done, man. A lot of work. Yeah. Very, and still a lot of work. We got an opening tonight at the Benson Theater.
Oh, okay.
A little Shakespeare going down, so it should be cool. But yeah, we've been getting ready all week for that and all that stuff. So
all that jazz.
Everything else that's going on, man. Lots going on in the world.
Yeah, I got a Channel 3 on in front of me. Actually, I had it on. What's going on at Memorial? They got some statues going up. Anybody?
I don't know nothing about it, bro.
So there's always something going on.
Malcolm X statue going up.
Man, hey, that's a great question. A great question.
Probably not. I ain't heard it. So
no, we needs it. But don't forget, Vivian Strong Street. That's going up.
Street naming. It's going down.
That's going up. Going up, going down. However you want to put it.
The going up is going down.
Yeah, man. Speaking of that, man, how you doing? I guess aside from your week dragging along, I think the time change has something to do about that as well. You going from Colorado to Mountain West, back to Omaha, and in the central.
It's just an hour difference, though.
You'd be surprised.
I can't claim jet lag on that. Last week, I'm doing all right, man. I'm chilling. But yeah, man, just kind of working in that, and I work through the weekend, so it's not like I really can look forward to a break. So Friday be feeling like a Monday sometime too,
Yeah. Especially when we got a bunch of fires to put out, it'd be like that sometimes.
Man, no pun intended. Why is Omaha burning down? We gonna talk.
Ooh, I like what you did there. Yeah. We will definitely get into that. Big shout out to all the chat chimers been dropping those stories. In our group page, Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group on Facebook. Yeah, man. What, like 3 fires in the last week or so?
And that OOIC building is the biggest situation.
Man, literally.
Gotta talk about it. Before we get into that, I want to jump into the chat real quick because it's going off already. What's going on, Chat Chimers? Pop says, good Friday morning, First Skyers. Mad love from Las Vegas.
Hey.
Appreciate you, Pops. I was supposed to be out there this weekend in Las Vegas and I'm not going to make it, but man, I was trying to go. Gwen Easter gives us a good morning on Facebook. Judy Prinzler says, morning, fam. What's going on? Leia Keister says, fry, yay.
Yay.
Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning as well. Mama God says good morning to 2 of my favorite men in my First Sky family. Appreciate you, Mama God. Kimra Snipes is up early as well over on YouTube saying good morning, y'all. What's happening? Amy H. No Dot says good morning with some sunshine. That's what's up.
Hey, Cameron, know what's up? No dot.
There it is. No Dot. It's going down. I heard it's going to rain a few times today, though, but still warm. I can deal with a little rain as long as it ain't, freezing, sleet, or nothing like that. So
Yeah, that's always a win. It's been kind of rainy down here lately, so I wonder what's going on.
Springtime, baby, springtime.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'll take it. Coming in, let us know again what your summer plans are, what you got going on. Of course, we got Paul and I were just talking about it. Juneteenth coming up right around the corner, so definitely prepare for that. Big shout out to Miss Willie Williams and the whole Juneteenth team. Again, got the flag raising. If I'm not mistaken, the biggest Juneteenth celebration in the nation, man. So definitely make sure you're a part of it. Right around the corner. Of course, Omaha Day is coming up. So
that too.
Yeah, man. Eventful summer ahead of us. Definitely excited for it. But also, what you got going on this weekend. We don't have to go that far. Again, let us know what's going on in your world. What's happening again this weekend. If you have any exciting events, definitely feel free. We'll try to get into it as a custom every Friday. We'll try to get into some extended habs.
No, we're gonna do some
habs. Yeah. There's some things going on that we got to tell you about. It. Some things we kind of forgot about. So definitely let us know what's going on.
What's going on with you, buddy? How you feeling this morning?
Man, I'm all right. I could have used a couple more winks. I will say that. I caught a groove last night and man, it was just cooking up. Lost track of time. If you believe in the concept.
Yeah.
But might have some new jams, some new grooves, to play for y'all.
You just reminded me right there. I think that's why we don't believe in the concept of time, because we're musicians.
No. Yes.
Music is how you decorate time, and however long it takes you to do that is the moment.
You just kind of hit me with that's a quotable right there. Music is how you decorate time.
Rhythm in particular. Rhythm is how you decorate time.
Yeah. Hey, them triplets, that 4/4 time. Yeah. We really literally playing with time.
Yeah, playing with time. So yeah, our concept is definitely different. That's what's up, man. You guys are talking to each other, man. I love the fam giving each other good mornings and hellos and talking about haps already and all that good stuff. Keep it going, man. Keep it thriving.
Community.
Wanted to give a shout out to the radio crew as well. Shout out to Beth, who's up rocking with us on the 6:30 crew. Who is who gave me a note here that she's out there jamming. So I'm glad you enjoyed the set this morning. Again, if you don't know, we do have a digital radio channel placed 24/7. It is on firstskyOmaha.com. Hit the listen button, and we got some plans for that coming up season 6. Man, we got some things that we're getting ready to do all the way around. I think that's where my excitement is coming from. We're all feeling excited about the new moves being made. We made some big progress on some stuff yesterday that we've been holding back on for about 2 years, for about a year.
Man. Slacking. I'll be honest. I just call it what it is, but definitely excited about it. I mean, again, things happen in due time. I'm definitely a believer that all things happen for a reason. So, it is what it is, man. We're definitely excited. That's where we are now with it. And it should be coming very soon. Some things right around the corner, and that is one thing I was gonna mention, kind of beyond just my late night cook up session. Really excited about this AI, and really excited. And again, man, we've been talking about it, and I know we've mentioned it a few times, but I will reiterate: if y'all have not looked into AI, please. Well, I'll maybe suggest some websites that you can check out. A lot of them are very simple, very user friendly. Kind of just think about what you want to do, type it in, and it responds, and it'll do the rest of the work. So it's very, very interesting, and I'm seeing a lot more businesses kind of implement AI. Definitely, I know a few people own businesses in the chat. Implement it. Look into it.
And we'll definitely talk to you more about it. We've both been going down a rabbit hole on it, and we're definitely going to be implementing some AI with First Sky Omaha for sure. So we'll talk about that as it happens, and then talk about it more for just like how we talk about everything else, for understanding's sake. So appreciate that. Tony Johnson 12 in the chat says, trying to get out of Facebook jail. Somebody in the group not liking posts. It don't take much to get into Facebook jail these days, man. I'll be there all the time. I don't even know how. That's what's up. Pop says, now that time thing is deep. Our modern day Einsteins. Hey, what's going on? That's what's up.
Okay.
Mr. Erica Felt in the chat on YouTube says, good morning. I had a dream right before the alarm went off that I got to meet so many here that I've only seen their tiny profile pics. Yeah,
Hey,
we're gonna try to solve some of that by putting together a Chad Chimers kickback. As a matter of fact, Mayor Sanchez hit me up yesterday
the
saying,
mayor.
let's put it together, man. So that's what's up. Also, I talked to Brother Kasim from the BAA
Shout
as
out.
well. Shout out, man. He reminded us about what the Flag Football League is doing, with the BAA Flag Football League is doing, and reminded us about some things, man. We've been talking about what's going on with the other flag football team over there because it's been in the news
Pace.
recently. Pace, right, and he kind of reminded me like, man, Pace ain't doing nothing in North Omaha. We the ones doing it in North Omaha, and he was right. Looked into it, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So we gonna have Brother Kasim on Monday to talk about some of these things. So yeah, he agreed to come on. And in season 6, man, we even get ready to we're firing up a little BAA segment, regular segment that's going to be happening season 6. So be looking out for that. Yeah, Kimmer says, I told Kasim we were talking about him the other day. He's going to reach out to me about it. Yeah, he reached out to us about it too. He went back and looked at the show, reached out to us, and he's fired up because he's very passionate about what's going on with that flag football team that they've been working on and been very successful with. So yeah, we'll be talking about it Monday as well. It'll be a great conversation. Other things happening right now. You know that this is Friday, which means that we're going to be talking to the brothers senators Terrell, McKinney, and Justin Wayne. Put some respect on their names.
Ooh.
We're going to be talking about this heavy legislative week. Lots
Yeah, man.
going on. Lots in the headlines about it, and only a certain amount of days left, man. So that's what's up. The other thing that is on my mind too is a little word on the street. It sounds like Fox 42 is about to shut down. Word on the street. I've been looking for some articles to support it. Haven't found nothing yet, but word on the street and word from some people that work there, shutting down. So that'll be very interesting to have one less mainstream media outlet going on. We'll see. We'll see what the outcome is going to be. The outcome that's happening here. So we'll see what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on. Kimmer Snipes says Pace was coming to north though. I ain't just making. Oh yeah, we ain't saying you making nothing up, but we did fail to mention a little bit stronger about like what the BAA has been doing with that flag football league. I was just mentioning that day that I'd like to see them play against each other. You know,
Yeah, that'd be nice.
if that was a thing, we'll see. Rick Fulton says, why would anybody set fire to the OOIC building on 24th?
We have
We're going to be talking about today.
have some ideas. I will put that caveat out there, put the disclaimer. We have some theories. We don't have any anything, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it for sure.
What else we going to talk about this session?
Yeah. It's a good opportunity to jump into it. A lot of things going on, of course, as you mentioned, the senators coming on. I do want to specifically talk to them about what's going on with prison reform. Again, Senator McKinney going hard on prison reform, and Senator Wayne is right there alongside him. We didn't really get into it on Wednesday, but again, the Judiciary Committee has put up some proposals for a mandatory supervised release. We're talking about recidivism. Again, we are, as First Sky Omaha, also preparing to work on some reentry program projects and things like that. So definitely going to jump into that conversation. Again, remember, the state has already planned for 2 new prisons and no reforms have been put out. So we're definitely going to talk about that. Also jumping into, again, we kind of already mentioned it, what's going on with these fires in North Omaha, not just the OOIC building, but still individual houses around North Omaha miraculously burning up and popping up in the flames. Rick Fulton saying fire sale, quote unquote, in the chat. Hey, man. Hey, you reading my mind. Again, the OOIC building, several people have tried to buy it recently and they holding tight. Now this, I don't know. So we'll definitely talk about that. Also, looking at what's going on with DHHS. We never really got to get into that. But again, 145,000 Nebraskans at risk of losing Medicaid. And we definitely want to let you know what's going on with that to keep you informed. Again, DHHS ahead of Medicaid and a lot of changes with pandemic relief. And we kind of got into it with the funds the other day as far as some mentalities out there as far as, again, the pandemic is over. Do we still need some of those benefits? Do we still need some of those funds? Should that maintain? Will that affect you? Again, we'll see. As always, if there's anything else that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that in the chat. Let us know what's going on in your world. Let your mind be free. More importantly, let your voice be heard. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it, man. First Sky Omaha, last of a dying breed. Let's go.
Peace. What up, what up, what up, what up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B. the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd is going down. You chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, do us a favor, share the show so we can get as many people in the conversation as possible. Go ahead and share that show on your page and let people know what you're listening to as well. Really appreciate it if you do that. Like I said, this is a conversation. It started off as a news show. Now it's more of a conversation because of you, the chat chimers, everybody who chimes in and has a discussion, and an action group. We got to get to some points of action with some of the things that we're coming to getting on the same page about. And that's the goal here. So again, we'll do that. We'll have a great session today, a fresh edition today, in the spirit of going ahead and trying to figure some things out together and get to some action points. And we appreciate everybody's help. We'll have an extensive HAPS a little bit later on. Maybe not extensive, but we will have a HAPS later on. There are some things going on this weekend. Get your HAPS together and let us know about some of those things too. And man, we'll definitely jump into some of these hot topics, especially like with all these fires going on. Tony Johnson says the mayor's office is quiet on these fires. Well, that's because the mayor ain't around too much. Sounds like to me. I think there's some news in the ether out there about Amy Melton taking over the mayor's responsibilities when she's out of town, which I think is interesting. Because at first the mayor was like, it doesn't matter if I go out of town, I could do my job on the road. And now she got somebody sitting in. So
man, she was like, it's a thing called a phone. Like you can run the whole city from an app.
Yeah. Mayor Sanchez in the house, man. He's reminding you to hit the like button. Please do that. We're still trying to build up as many people as we can on YouTube. YouTube is kind of where we're going to be doing some extra work here, especially in season 6. Lots of new videos and things that we're going to be putting out on YouTube, and a new channel as well that we're going to launch.
Might need some drone work.
Man, we need it all. So it's going down. As a matter of fact, we put that out there right now too, man. We would love to team up if you have a video company, or if you do anything that has to do with video production. Let us know. We're definitely going to put some things together for the Native Omaha Days. This coming up here. I forget the dates right now, but Native Omaha Days coming up. We'd like to do some coverage of that, and love to team up with some other companies from the neighborhood that have the capacity to be able to record and document and archive what's going on with our Native Omaha Days. Something that we might be able to use for the rest of the year to keep business and stuff rolling down 24th Street. So, that's the thing. Every time we have an Omaha Days and it's thriving, when everybody's out there making money, having fun, then we go, how come we can't do this all year? Every year we say it. Why can't we do this other times, So, good thing to do is be able to help capture that and help tell that story and show why it's important that we have that kind of activity and economic development and stuff going on in the neighborhood on more than just every other year. So that would be my goal for that. But so we're putting it out there, man. We always are trying to collaborate with everybody on things. If there's other businesses out there that are doing some things, let's collaborate. Let's put some things together. Let us know.
What's the theme? Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. All right, man. Already.
Yep. In the meantime, between time, let's go ahead and jump into some stories before the brother senators come on, so that we have plenty of time to be able to talk to them. Buddy, what's first on the agenda?
Well, again, we got a couple honorable mention stories, if you will, that we did not get into on Wednesday that we wanted to round back to, and definitely this DHHS story is one of them. Shout out to our partners over at the Nebraska Examiner, always doing the good work, letting
Mhm.
people know what's going on, man. So again, you can tune in or check them out at NebraskaExaminer.com. But this latest report is definitely something we should be paying attention to. Again, the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services began March 1st, processing accounts of Nebraskans whose renewal months are April and May. So again, if your Medicaid is set to renew this month or next, definitely pay attention. As a result, Nebraskans could begin to lose coverage this month. Again, if you're coming up for renewal, pay attention this month, even though some may still be eligible for Medicaid. Medicaid renewals have been paused for the past 3 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But as renewals restart, about again 145,000 could be at risk. Nate Watson, who's deputy director for communications and compliance at DHHS Division of Medicaid and Long-Term Care, says the most important thing Nebraskans can do is update their contact information. Nebraskans can visit or call Access Nebraska to update their information or see when their renewal month is. Again, if you don't know when your renewal month is, check out Access Nebraska. DHHS also has local offices throughout the state to assist Medicaid recipients. Watson also says the best estimate is that 10 to 20% of the nearly 390,000 Nebraskans on Medicaid, or about 40 to 80,000, would actually lose coverage, which is in line with national trends. So, again, a lot of people at risk of losing their health care coverage, which could still, be helping save them a lot of money, especially when you look at some of the prices for Medicaid or medication out there. It can get, kind of ridiculous. So people, again, this goes back to the conversation we were having a couple of days ago about the concept, as mentioned in the article, that although the pandemic is over, so there's a lot of resources out there. Again, we're still talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that we're still trying to secure for North Omaha, even a couple years kind of removed from the heat of the pandemic. But some people think that, that should dry up. What say you?
Good question. Yeah, I would leave it to the chat. What do you think about that? I know that they say the pandemic's over. I also know that in reality we're all still kind of living with it. There's a lot of people that are still catching it. There's a lot of people that I see, especially, man, when I went to Denver, couldn't believe how many people were walking around with masks as if it was still happening.
Down here, still a
You know
lot
what
of
I'm
people
saying?
maxed up, especially at grocery stores.
Yeah, big time. Just as many as has been. I personally keep forgetting about it because I have every intent to go ahead and pull my mask out after my fiasco in Napa last year, because I thought it was over last year, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And that's when I caught it. That's when a lot of people are catching it. So we're still living with it. We're still in not just on a medical and physical level, but economically. I hear
Yeah.
reports all the time about what's going on. The fact that inflation is as high as it is right now is a direct result of that, and people still need help there. So I think, of course, if you have money that's been earmarked, part of the reason why it has not gotten to the people that need help is because of hoops and holdups that's going on. And of course, people that want that money for other projects are going to say, well, pandemic's over, we don't need it, we can use it for our projects now.
That
And,
part.
and that's what's up. That's the messed up thing there. That woman, that's Miss Erica Felt, says the financial threshold to qualify has been expanded, so be sure to have your contact info correct. So even if your income increased a little, you may still qualify. Talk about Medicaid. Amy H. No Dot says, my mom just had COVID a few weeks ago. She is a nurse who's been working throughout the pandemic, and that was the first time she got it. Still living with it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. We're still living with it on a bunch of different levels. So
And of course, speaking of like still living with, like, literally there's the thing long COVID that's been floating around, as far as trying to understand and just learn the long lasting effects of people who did catch COVID. Will they need long term medical care? Will that have to be subsidized by the government? Will there have to be federal funding for some of that, or assistance for some of that? Again, I believe Miss Erica Felt or one of the chat chimers, had someone close to them that was, they say it was pretty debilitated by this. That's
yeah.
you can't, that's long term effects. How do you get help for that? You know what I mean? And you can't just say, well, that's over.
Right. Some of the money, the economic situation they're holding back, because if they declare that we're out of a pandemic, then certain money that was going to hospitals, certain money that was helping people get the kind of medical attention they need is gone. So there's a lot by declaring this is over, which Joe Biden actually did declare that
he did.
Yeah, that we're out of the pandemic, which stopped a whole bunch of funds. So now we're literally talking, these funds we were talking about are funds that were earmarked for COVID relief before, that just never came. And so hence the debate, hence people going, well, we're out of it now. Why do we need those? Why we shouldn't just give the money because we said we would before. But, the argument can be made that people still need it, help. We're still living with it. We're still dealing with it economically and physically.
Right. And beyond economically, again, really some of the sheer fact is some people might just be eliminated because of lack of communication, which is another big thing that we talk about. Actually, Watson says some could lose eligibility unnecessarily if the department cannot reach enrollees when more information is required to verify eligibility. Of course, you got to know there's plenty of hoops and red tape and paperwork and documents and just a whole bevy of things that you have to do, of course, to get some of these benefits from the state as usual. And again, right,
hoops.
Paul. Man, all the hoops and red tape. But again, Medicaid has been on pause for the last 3 years. So if you moved, if anything, if you had a new number, a new email address, if anything has changed over the last years and you haven't updated it, even if you are still eligible for it, you can still lose it due to lack of communication. So definitely, please make sure you're checking into that. Again, that's Access Nebraska. If anybody else needs help, shout out to Nebraska Appleseed. They apparently have a step-by-step guide for following the Medicaid renewal process, and can also help Nebraskans manage the process if you do need that help. So again, reach out to Nebraska Appleseed. They have a link. I'll post that in the chat. And yeah.
I just heard a report this morning from an economist that's saying, we're on the verge of going into a recession. A lot of it has to do with what's going on with food prices, with inflation right now, and the situation we're in. Mm-hmm. And the reporter asked the question, what would tip us over the edge? And the economist said, what tips us over into the edge of being in the recession is a major event. So .com bubble that bursted. The subprime loan situation that happened, a pandemic, all things like that can tip us over. Even the war in Ukraine has been something that's been leaning on us a little bit on that. So the any event that happens that comes up now, we're right on the edge. Any event that comes up now will tip us over into a recession. And we've been talking about several different kinds of events that could tip us over. The Fed now situation could tip us over. There's so many things that's going on right now. Not to mention, if people keep on acting like that we're not living with COVID still, then we can be back in a messed up situation. And I love how people in the chat right now are reminding us about what that looks like. Miss Erica Felt says my son's father was hospitalized again due to COVID 2 Januaries ago. COVID caused him to be on dialysis 3 times a week now, and the latest hospitalization shows he is now diabetic, although 165 pounds and 6'2".
Man,
long COVID, complications from COVID. And think about COVID in general, man. It's recorded that we lost 1 million people due to the pandemic in the last 2 years, and that's recorded, which means it's probably more. Pops in the chat says, I will still be wearing my mask after May 11th, the date that they say the pandemic is over. COVID is here to stay, even if the numbers drop. He says, I don't want to be one of the ones, to be one of those expectations that catch COVID, right? Exception to catch COVID. Yeah, I don't want to be an exception either, for sure.
That's even crazy that they, like, how do you select such an arbitrary date, like May 11th? Like, how do you even select a day? Like, oh, it's after, the clock strikes 12, it's over.
Well, I think they're anticipating that they're going to be up underneath a certain amount, a certain agreed upon number of what a pandemic is, and they're just kind of anticipating that that's going to happen at that date, is what I'm understanding. We've already gotten several declarations from several different organizations, including the presidency, that said it's over. Pop says, plus for decades, the people of Japan have always worn a mask when they're sick to keep others from getting sick. I think it's a great policy. I remember back in the 80s, we laughed at Michael Jackson for getting back off the plane with a mask on. Like, what you doing, man? He came back from Japan like, this is what we're doing over there for everybody to stay good. And he came back wearing a mask, and they were like, just another weird thing. The brother got one glove, and now he's wearing a mask.
Just chalked it up to being weird, huh?
Right, but when you're in Japan and you got a densely populated cities like that, then they had to figure some things out to keep each other, keep from pandemics from spreading all over there. So it is. Kimber Snipes, man, says I still say it was COVID. Okay, she said I had back in Hey, you're absolutely right. I feel like I had it way early too. She says I still say it was COVID. I had back in 2014 a virus that attacked my heart and my kidneys. My son's flag football coach and 3 members of his family got it too, and 2 of them died.
What?
So all the doctor said was that it was a virus, and they had no clue where it came from. Woo.
Again, it was called COVID-19. I mean, there's
yeah, they had to have a clue where it came from.
Yeah. There's been other Whoa. Kimber says she died 2 times and came back. Man.
Dang.
That's crazy. I feel like you did mention that before, but that's crazy.
Yeah. I was in the hospital for a month in a coma for over a week. Yeah, I remember that now. I remember you telling us about that. Wow.
And you think that was COVID?
Well, it's interesting that she's saying like the doctor said it was a virus. Back then they didn't know that COVID hadn't hit as a pandemic yet. But I feel like that too, man. I really feel like that too. Like this, when I got COVID in Napa, there was some familiar like, oh, this feels like we'll have something that just happened a few years back before we even heard about it, about the pandemic happening, and I was kind of weird, sick like that too, real fast. I don't know. I think it might have been, and I think the reason why I didn't get as sick as I did in Napa was because I might have had it before. Just don't know. But it's interesting. We keep on flip-flopping back and forth on. We're talking about the fact that we're dealing with it on a physical level, but we're also dealing with it economically, which is where we're at now. Which is the reason why they make declarations about when the pandemic is over, because if the declaration that we're in a pandemic is still in effect, then there's dollars that go to certain areas in order to try to stem that off. But they can stop spending that money. They can stop spending that money if they declare this over.
Like it's tied to a certain emergency legislation, you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wanda Lewis says, you will know if you ever had COVID. It leaves a permanent marker in the blood. Interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah. So it's still around. This is not the time not to have medical coverage. And to go to your point, Paul, about it being a economic issue. Again, Medicaid, going back to the story, is used for mostly by people who can't afford market rate insurance. These are people who are kind of on the fringes, who are already, teetering before the pandemic. And as we already know, the pandemic disproportionately impacted that group of individuals, the people who are already on the fringes, people who already had health issues or comorbidities, as they were talking about. So again, the people that are most in need could be the people without the health insurance. Again, about 145,000 people, they say, at stake. So definitely check out the link we posted in the chat. There's a step-by-step guide from Nebraska Appleseed if you need assistance on how to make sure that you're not one of the ones.
There you go. Little side note before we move on. I was just thinking about other people that are at risk over this declaration that we're out of this pandemic. Is people at the border. Because we've been in this situation, Border Patrol has been able to successfully push people back. We're going to send you, we're going to deport you because we're not trying to bring anybody in here with COVID. They've been using that a lot when it comes to the immigration situation happening. Now that's getting ready to get lifted, they're fighting to keep that to keep it that way. But it's just interesting how many things happen when there's a declaration of emergency or pandemic. How many laws change, where money is funneled, what happens when that happens. We have been talking about it too much. We just been like, the CDC has declared us in a pandemic, but what does that mean all across the board? Follow the money. What does that mean for everybody who's suffering? How are they suffering? What kind of ways are they suffering? Not just physical, not just monetarily, but political as well. Like all kinds of stuff happens when they make these declarations.
Man, connect the dots.
Connect the dots. Yeah, you pay attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's. I just throw this word out before we change, but you just kind of reminded me of this, and we talk about following the money. This is a phrase I came across and learned more about, and have since learned a lot more about. But this goes back to the earthquakes in Haiti, like the Haiti earthquakes when the Clinton like Hillary was dealing with it. The disaster capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real thing. Disaster capitalism is a real thing, and when there are those life-changing, altering moments that you're talking about, like a pandemic, like a housing crash, best believe somebody is preparing to capitalize off of that.
Oh yeah,
so
true.
Yeah, definitely just keep that in mind. But
7:36 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, let's go ahead and move on to another.
Yeah, man.
I just got word from Senator Terrell McKinney. He's going to be running a little late this morning, but he will be on. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate brother McKinney letting us know what's happening. In the meantime, between time, what's next on the roster?
Man, well, definitely want to dive into this. We're kind of sticking with the health aspect of the conversation. Big news coming out of the legislature. Nebraska abortion ban has fallen short. One vote. Again, the 20-week limit remains intact. But there was a big push in the legislature to push to a 6-week ban again. But that has fallen short. Republican State Senator Joni Albright's legislative bill 626 fell in a similar fashion as the near total abortion ban proposed last year. Both lost to Democratic-led filibusters in the officially nonpartisan legislature. So we can say, although there was some tension in the room, if you will, it seems like Senators Kavanaugh and Hunt, got a victory.
And Jen Day.
Yep.
The three of those who are the people that pushed this.
Yep. So, very, very interesting that it seems like that succeeded. Thursday's vote again means LB 626 is likely dead for 2023, although it is possible the bill could be revived, according to political observers. Previous legislatures have sometimes found ways to resurrect bills after a filibuster if supporters can secure enough votes. In this case, one more. Again, fell one short vote. So could there be a lone senator out there that is flipped and bring this back? We will see. But as of right now, looks like it will most likely die. Again, Senators Rape or Wayne would have to vote differently. Those are kind of the two swing votes that are being considered. Also, Governor Pillen shortly after the vote called on Senator Ripe, a fellow Republican, of course, to reconsider his vote. He said Ripe should remember his pledge to a pro-life, to be a pro-life senator, kind of alluding to, again, those political pacts that both Herbster and Pillen had put out when they were running for governor, kind of holding them, to that. So, pay attention to those as well, as far as those political pacts and what pledges and allegiances have already been aligned.
Tony Justin 12 is asking, is it true Pillen can request another vote? Not sure about that. Not sure about that.
I don't know if he's requesting it, but as just reported, he's laying, he's leaning on Wright and other Republican senators. So we'll see.
Judy Prince is asking, do we know why Senator Wayne didn't vote? Nope, don't know, but he'll be on. We can ask him directly. So I'll get ready to ask him that question. I did see a quote that Marianne Williams over in Friends of First Sky Omaha put in from Senator McAllister, saying, I would encourage everyone in Nebraska excited about the failure of LB 626 to send Senator Ripe. Is it Reap?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Reap or Ripe.
Yeah, since I'm going to say Reap, Senator Reap, an email thanking him for his courage after I went out on a limb A few years ago, I received 1,500 plus emails thanking me for my actions. They helped confirm that I did the right thing. So they're asking that's the one vote that fell short that made the LB 626 fail was Senator Reep. So anyway, yeah, that's interesting stuff. Sorry, I jumped into the chat room.
You telling everybody else not to read the chat.
I pulled the Precious right there, like what? Say what? Repeat. Thank you, Amy No Dot.
Senator Repeat. Oh, yeah, we were both off.
Yeah, they're all wrong.
Reap.
One syllable name. It's a 2-syllable name.
Repeat. Okay.
Marianne Williams says just to Remington, Wayne was present, not voting, which equals a no. Okay. So yeah, any questions that you have when he comes on, we can definitely ask. Only yes votes count, she says. Okay, sounds good. It's interesting how we had we were following a lot about what was going on with the filibuster. Some of the things that Megan Hunt was saying. Everything kind of blasted off into the stratosphere when it came to national coverage on these subjects. Mm-hmm. Then a little bit of controversy happens when they were kind of saying some things to Brother Terrell and Brother Wayne, Senator McKinney and Senator Wayne, excuse me, about that made us kind of say what's going on with the allies. You know what I'm saying? And then we kind of stopped looking real close at what was happening there. Due to that, I kind of got wind of Senator Hunt on the declaring victory and having a press conference and the whole thing. So I mean, it felt like it went off and kind of took a little life of its own, but still, as far as we're concerned, but it's still a very big deal in the legislature, big news, huge news basically. That this is the second year they've been pushing for this kind of abortion ban, and it's the second year that it failed, and so it's big news for people. And so we figured we better mention that because that's been part of this ongoing story about what's been going on in the legislature here.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, we're definitely in support of this type of effort to stop this legislation. It just got a little conflicted there as far as interest in what we're trying to do. But again, big shout out to Senators Kavanaugh and Hunt, and you said Senator Jen Day,
yeah,
as well. Again, despite they risked making some allies and making some people mad, both on their side and the other side of the aisle, to do what they believed in, and we'll see. It's definitely looking good for them. So hopefully we can get some more victories. We'll definitely be talking to the senators in a second about prison reform. Hopefully we can get some of that through as well. So more fights to happen, more definitely to look out for. But again, big shout out to those senators, and we'll definitely talk to Senator Wayne about his vote on this situation.
Yeah, regardless of what you think about the abortion issue, it's we have to always leave those things up to us individually, what it is that we think and believe about those things. But I think for me, the grand scheme of this, the narrative, because but when we were talking about these things before, we weren't necessarily talking about abortion. We were talking about the trans bill, the trans thing that they were trying to avoid.
Surgeries
for that was kind of that's the big thing, and that was what was on the floor as far as the filibuster and stuff is concerned. So there's a few different issues that are happening here that that we haven't really got into the discussion too much about the abortion bill, and so I understand why there's questions about like who voted, why people who didn't vote, so on. We can definitely keep those questions going if those are the questions that you want to ask and everything else. But basically, just wanted to mention that this major thing happened in the legislature. It's been definitely a part of the story this whole time, and just reminding people, you gotta think what you think and believe what you believe for sure. So you call it a victory if you want to, or I'm sure that we have some listeners that aren't calling it a victory because of what they believe. But the point to me is that this is an ongoing situation that it seems like in a legislature that's supposed to be a unicameral, that's supposed to be nonpartisan. There's always party politics going on.
Yeah.
There's always people playing by certain books and even calling people out, just like straight up call that senator out. Like, I thought you supposed to be Republican, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man,
this is what they did to him. So interesting stuff. Kimmer Snipes says, let's not let us never forget the message from Sister Michelle Troxler about access, etc. That was powerful for me. Give me some more on that, because now you got me wanting to go look for her speech on that, because we record everything, so we might have to come back and play some of what Michelle Troxler said on that. Speaking of which, I did talk to her too, and she is all for doing some soapbox moments, and we're going to be recording some soapbox moments and playing those and stuff like that during the show too, like on season 6 coming up. So stay tuned for the return of Michelle Troxler on a whole bunch of things.
Hey. Man, looking good.
There it is. 7:45 right now. We are still waiting for Brother Senators Terrell, McKinney, and Justin Wayne to come on the show. Run a little bit late this morning, but it's all good. We will absolutely look forward to speaking with them about some of these subjects that are coming up. Actually been waiting a few days about talking to them about this prison reform stuff, so I can't wait to hear about what's going on there. And of course, they've been in the newspaper. Brother Wayne was talking about recidivism. He's kind of demanding that they have that they go through some programs when they come out, and not just kind of hard hit come out. So there's a lot that we can talk about. And of course, remember, they keep on coming on and saying, hey, we don't get a whole lot of support on these subjects.
Yeah.
And this is, that's why we want to keep it front of mind, and most for the most part, really try to help push some of these things that they're going for, because nobody else is going for them but them.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going for that. It's hard enough to get our own folks who have people who even have people in their family that are incarcerated to even chime up and really get in there and talk about it. So that's what it is, and I can't wait to talk to them about it. So yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm seeing Brother Wayne in the wings right now. We'll go ahead and bring him in. I'm trying to see what Kimber's talking about. She says abortion access. I took notes on that. Shared it with my team at work. It was very powerful. It definitely had me thinking about it through a different lens. Okay. She says, I didn't like that either. Tony to be, she's talking to Tony there, saying only because I rarely see them in the black community. It made me cringe.
Yeah, referring to Brother Tony Johnson. He says, funny how they all use a lot of stories about black community for this effort. Again, talking about the LB 626 and kind of some of the testimony that came out.
Yeah, for those of you who remember, we talked about that. They kind of chimed up saying that we're doing this for the black community, and some of those things that they were saying that had us be like, say what? They brought those things up a lot, and it kind of unfortunately made us be like, what's going on with the allies? Had us question that a little bit. So anyway, I'm glad we tied that all together. In the meantime, don't want to let him wait in the wings here, but we're going to go ahead and bring on Brother Justin Wayne. This is Senator Justin Wayne. Put some respect on his name.
Hey, you got to say the whole thing.
Good morning to you, bro. How you doing, man?
Man, never been better. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm glad to hear that. That's what a response. I like that. We ain't doing too bad, man. I cannot really complain about anything. I can complain all day, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, feeling blessed, and definitely lucky that we were able to do things like get some inside information from y'all. Talk to you guys. So appreciate you coming on. Brother McKinney said he sent me a text that he had to drop his daughter off. He's gonna be on shortly.
Man, so, he ain't coming on, man. Don't get it twisted. He was out last night. No, he wasn't out last night. We about to take a road trip. That's what he's stressing about.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Where y'all going?
We're gonna head out to Fort Robinson. So I got a bill LB, I think 474. It's called Preserve the Third, and what I did is I'm looking at all the Native and Black history outside of Omaha. So we set aside some money to buy the Mayhew cabin down in Nebraska City. A lot of folks don't know, but the Mayhew cabin was a one of the main parts of the Underground Railroad to getting people up through Nebraska to Minnesota and other places. So that has been in disarray for the last 3 years. It hasn't even been open. So we set aside some money to buy that and open that back up and preserve our culture. And then Fort Robinson, if you don't know about that, it's way out west, like 8 hours from here. But it's where the Buffalo Soldiers were. It's where the first Black infantry was established in the military. That's where they trained. But then it also has a lot of Native American history where Red Cloud Agency was there. That's where Crazy Horse kind of last stand was. So they have some old cabins and some old places that you can stay. And so I got a bill and I secured the money. We were going to put about 20 million into those 2 facilities to make sure we preserve our culture in Nebraska. And I think it's a huge tourist attraction. So after they redo the cabins and put a little meeting hall there, there's a lake up by there. They're going to shore up the dam. I hope by next year I want to take a group of folks out there to just stay, get on some buses and drive out there, make it a big, like almost like a native Omaha days, but it's like, this is our culture. This is something that many folks don't even know about. That right here in Nebraska, we have deeply rooted cultures. And one of the first Black towns in the northern side of the Dixie line was in Nebraska. It was called DeWitt, Nebraska. And it was actually a huge population. And so right next to Fort Robinson is a small community called Crawford. They got many of our first Black soldiers who were captains and high-ranking officials buried out there. And it's just, things that we should know as a community. So just not just Omaha, we putting money out there to make sure Black folks everywhere around the state are being represented and our legacy lives on forever.
Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It was kind of telling about, being down here in Georgia and learning more about the Chitlin Circuit and learning more about, communities in the rural areas and just kind of the impact that they have and just their existence, you know what I mean? And kind of thinking, you might expect that to be in the South, but does that exist in the Midwest? So it's nice to hear, that there's some efforts being put towards preserving that and telling that history and acknowledging, those rural communities that existed throughout Nebraska and throughout the Midwest.
Well, and the last part of that bill is we're setting some money aside to build a museum. So for Chief Standing Bear. So that'll be up in Ponca area. So it's a 3rd district. So it's the rural district. So we're going to get the senators on board from out west. It says that I'm having some issues with my streaming. That's what it says.
A little bit, you're getting a little jumpy.
But
yeah, you might want to when you get down here, you might want to jump out and come back in.
I'll do that right now. I'm in the basement, man, so you know how it goes sometimes. But
okay,
I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, we talked about internet in North Omaha is definitely part of the infrastructure. We got to get together.
Speaking of, he was talking about the DeWitt situation where Benson Theater is working with the descendants of DeWitt. To bring some stuff going on there. There he is. Now he's full green. I like that. There you go.
Looking good.
Welcome back. I was just telling him that Benson Theater is working with the descendants of DeWitt to come and do some stuff on stage to kind of tell those stories. So I love that you guys are involved with that. There was something in Friends of First Sky Omaha too, man, where there's some kind of thing coming up where some of our quote unquote Black leaders are going to be a meeting with a meeting with rural Nebraska. Do you hear anything about that? Do you have anything to do with that?
No, I do not know.
Okay. I'm sitting here scrolling through trying to find it, but yeah, let us tell us. I know that you were kind of in the middle of telling us about some of those things that you're doing out there. You have any more to add to that?
No, I just McKinney had a rough week with his family member being buried yesterday, so I was just like, man, let's go. And so there's about 15 senators that are going out there, and we'll go from there.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because actually somebody in the chat was actually asking about that. The brother that passed in the prison. Yes, that was apparently Senator McKinney's relative.
Yeah, we discussed it the other day, and we were saying thoughts going to the family there. He said that he put a post out saying that he had a family member that passed away. He had to go tell another family member that's incarcerated about the news. Just can't imagine the kind of stuff he's going through. It's one thing I'm really understanding about the legislature is that people are really chiming up about the things that they are personally attached to, not just what the constituents are saying and wanting them to fight for, but also, some of these things are personal. That's what we've been seeing. They talk about it with Megan Hunt. They're actually trying to fault her, trying to say that she's been biased in what she's talking about because she has a trans son, but when I think about stuff that's going on with what we're trying to do with prison reform, which is, the topic of the conversation here that the brothers have been coming on this recently talking about, you guys are talking about all the time. I'm thinking same thing, man. We've had family members that are in jail. Some of us have been there. It affects the black community heavily because of the numbers of incarcerated, and they're building new prisons, and they're it feels like they're targeting communities of color to fill these prisons. So the prison reform is absolutely positively necessary. I came across that article this morning about what you're doing, Brother Wayne, with trying to fight off this recidivism by requiring people to go into programs. Can you tell us a little bit more about that situation you got?
Yeah. So right now, we have different felony classes, but our 3s and 4s, which are lower level felonies, they have post-supervised release. So post-release supervision. So at the end of your sentence, you can go on post-supervised release for 18 months. Well, as a defense attorney, sometimes my clients don't want that, and so we'll actually plead them up to a class 2 so they can do a hard number and get out. Now, as a policymaker, that ain't a good idea. As a policymaker, if somebody is sitting in prison for 10 to 20 years, we just don't want them to wake up and be like, all right, here goes your bag, have a good day. Like, we got to make sure they re-enter back in society, that they get a job, that they have all the necessary paperwork to be successful. Otherwise, they're going to call the same people, and we know because we get the phone calls, they're going to call the same people that they went in with. So we got to set them on a different path. So the mandatory supervision is what we've seen in Texas, Florida, and a couple other places where they've actually reduced that recidivism by about 15 to 20% by saying, okay, here goes your number, but the last 2 years of your number, we're gonna get you in programming. We're gonna help you transition out to make sure when you walk out of here, you got some money in your pocket, you got a job, and you're moving in the right direction.
You got some skills.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Does that have you kind of mentioned Florida, and you were talking about your trip out to West Nebraska, but I know you just mentioned that you just came back from Florida. I think last time we talked to you, you said that's where you're heading. Can you speak to some about that trip, and how does that impact what you're trying to do in Nebraska?
So that trip was about the Clean Slate Act. Like I said, I don't know why I got invited to be on the panel when Senator McKinney introduced the bill, but I guess like light-skinned brothers can do some things, I guess. But no, so it's about like just setting up a way that like our lower level felonies are misdemeanors that they're not on your record after 10 years. And so right now we got a motion to set aside that you got a petition. And so it's just coming up with ways that you don't even have to do that. Saying after 10 years, if you don't have any other convictions, just get it off your record. Like it should be automatic. And so that's one of the things that came out of that. And so having conversations around those kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jumping back to the subject you were talking about before, the little bit of work that I was doing with the reentry program in Metro really taught me it's in their best interest to be able to go through these programs to get out. They have to have some skills. I met brothers that went in before the internet even existed and don't know how to search for nothing and do nothing. They need skills. Also, it's to the public's benefit too. I mean, they're going to come out and live next to you. Wouldn't you want people that have some skills and are not reverting back to maybe previous crimes and stuff like that around, to have them back in society? I'm fully backing what you're trying to do here with the last part of their sentence being in some programs that'll help them, gain some skills and get back into get back into society. So it makes perfect sense to me. Are you getting any kickback, pushback on that idea?
I am a little bit, just because people are like, hey, let's just wait and we can talk about it over the summer. And, with everything going on right now, I'm like, man, I may not be around next summer. We need to get this done now. Like, I'm alive, I'm present. My arguments make sense. Let's get it done. You want the most violent people coming out with no rehabilitation? And everybody's like, well, no. Well, then we got to wait on. Well, we got to wait. I don't understand. Explain that to me, And so we working hard, but we are going to put a group together with the governor, myself, and the attorney general, and we got to have a hard look at sentencing. Our sentencing structure in Nebraska is just way out of whack. And I don't mean being soft on crime, but there was a young man that I know this week was sentenced 6 to 30. And And so I said that to another colleague of mine, a freshman senator. He says, what does that mean? I said, well, he ain't doing 6 and he ain't doing 30, because with good time, he's only doing 3 or he's doing 15. If everything goes wrong, he's going to do 15. He was like, so why do they say 6 or 30? I said, exactly. We have no transparency in our sentencing. It makes the judges feel good that they can give this hard number at the top, but really it's the bottom number that matters. And it just makes people be on parole. We know our parole system ain't working well. And so I'm trying to get them to understand, if we can get to one number, if we can say, okay, you're doing 10, then we can build programming around that number. But right now, 6 to 30, is he going to be eligible for parole in 3? Yes. But is he going to have programming done in 3? And then what happens to that young person who gets denied parole at 5 or 6 years? He going to feel hopeless and say, well, hell, I might as well just sit here and jam out. Then that becomes a problem. We're dealing back with the same jam out situation of not getting programming, not getting things done. So where they've been successful across the country, it's a number. And we just give them a number. Now they may have a mandatory minimum and then that number, but right now we got ranges that don't make. I seen a guy who got 2 to 20. I don't even know what that means.
Man, I got to share a story, man, because you're reminding me of what I was facing. Again, I was a knucklehead at one time, and I got into some trouble. And you're talking about that range. Like I was hit with a possible 1 to 20 sentence.
1 to 20.
Yeah, 1 to 20, and
that's our class 2s. Our class 2 felonies are 0 to 20.
They just want you to faint when you hear that 20, like,
bro, because like you like you just said that low number, is what really matters. But you hear that 20, I don't care. You're a young person. You hear that 20, like what? And again, I'm not like Mama God can contest. You know what I'm saying? I was a knucklehead with the wrong people who I probably would have had. Had I gone into jail, probably would have had those were the people I would have called right back. As far as what you're talking about when I got out. But yeah, like just you just reminded me of that. And luckily, Allah saw fit to have a different plan for me. But just you just reminded me of the feeling, like that 1 to 20, man, that feels. And then of course you hear talking to judge hitting you with the book, and judge is gonna be tough on crime, like
right. Hey, that reminds me of Spike Lee's Malcolm X movie when they didn't understand the word concurrently. Spike Lee was standing in front of the judge, he passed out when he heard.
Man,
hey, so like the other thing, so that's part of it, right? And so people are like, well, Justin, this is 0 to 20, like a robbery, 0 to 20. So I'm like, a burglary, and I'm like, look, in Nebraska, here's the thing, in Douglas County, if you break into something and don't steal anything, they might just give you a trespass in here. Like if you're not a career criminal, but in Western Nebraska, you got a small town. They broke into the local gas station at night. Man, the town's talking about it. It's in the newspaper. The local prosecutor is like, "Ooh, I got a burglary. It's a real crime."
Right.
Then the local judge cracks them with 18 years.
Right.
Man,
you come here you come in Omaha, you go in front of some judges, you're gonna get probation.
Right.
And so that disparity, I'm trying to say, that ain't good for anybody. Like you shouldn't drive. I mean, everybody knows we shouldn't go to Sarpy County. I mean, you go to Sarpy County, it's a lot harder to do anything. But like you shouldn't drive to a different county and face something completely different if you do something. It should be somewhat consistent across the board. And so that's what we're looking at too.
Let me ask you some more questions about this particular thing you're doing, because I read that they have to be heavily supervised during that time period of the end of their sentence before they are going back into the world. Heavily supervised in these programs. What is there heavy supervision going on now, or is that something that has to be built out?
We got to build it out. So and again, what we're talking about are higher level offenses, the assault, assaults where they're damn near killing somebody, the sexual assault. Like these are our higher level offenses where right now they just jamming out. And so we got to make sure they're on their P's and Q's and getting things together and moving forward in life, not just giving them $5 and being like, all right, you out the pen.
Right.
That don't work for anybody. So it's those kind of things.
So, what, in your opinion, what does a hard supervision look like? I mean, is this sounding kind of like we got to reform the parole system, or are you talking about building a whole new system?
This is where I get in trouble. You asking too many questions. So because like we call it right now post supervised release, right? And I in the conversation with the reporter, I was like, we're gonna call it mandatory supervision. It just sounds tough.
Right.
And everybody's like, oh, it does sound heavily I don't know what heavily supervised. It just sounds tough. And that's what we gotta be tough on crime, And I'm like, come on, y'all. Post supervised release is supervised release. Whether we call it mandatory, whether we call it heavily supervised, it is what it is. Like, we're gonna hire some parole and probation officers. They're gonna check in with people. They're gonna make sure they're doing the right things. I don't think somebody's gonna be sitting outside of somebody's house making sure, curfew, they walking in at 10:59. Like, but it is what it is. I mean, so no, I don't know what heavily looks like. I just know it sounds tough.
Yes, it does. It does sound tough. It does sound tough.
Yeah, I can't be doing interviews with y'all, man.
Hey man, let me jump into the chat real quick, man. I've been neglecting the chat a little bit. Von Chapman says, "Good morning, but big man, could money for the preservation of OOIC being gotten from the legislature?" Okay, that's a kind of a.
It could have been if they would have applied, but they didn't apply.
Yeah. You got any thoughts on that? Oh, we haven't gotten to it yet, but OOIC did catch fire, and of course our first thoughts are we know several people. There's some chat chimers even that have gone after that building and didn't get it. Yeah. We know the champ went after it and didn't get it, and now all of a sudden
I thought he got it.
They didn't give it to him. No, and now it's burned half down. So we and this is
that's back in play. Let me make a note. I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, find out. Yeah,
okay.
All right, we're gonna figure that out today.
Let us know.
That's what's up.
City of Omaha, if you watching, I'm calling.
Hey. You might get it for real cheap now that half of it's burned up. So
man, fire sale.
Y'all wrong for that.
Miss Erica Felt in the chat says, "I grew up with someone who is a career criminal. He refuses to parole each time. He just sits the entire time and is released to the streets with no housing or job requirement." That sounds a little nightmare situation. Maybe if there is a requirement, a real tough mandatory, watching in program, this brother might change his ways. Who knows? Mama God in chat said, "The only thing I can attest to is no effing way. Watch a real Mama God at work." She talking about your 1 to 20.
Man.
Now, no, as stoic as you are, buddy, when anything hits, I kind of wanted to see how you reacted to that 1 to 20 when he said it.
I was still stoic, to be honest.
So I figured.
To be honest, I was still pretty stoic, but I heard it. I heard that 20. I heard it. I heard that 20.
Von Chapman says, "It appears disingenuous for the Empowerment Network to work with law enforcement to ignore poverty, with the end result being increase in overcrowded juvenile detention in Nebraska prisons, but supposed decrease in yearly crime. Is that an actual cure for crime or a reason to build more prisons?" Ooh, what a question. Let's jump into that a little bit. You've been working with the Empowerment Network. I talked to Willie Barney. He's agreed to come on to the show so we can talk to him directly about some things. But you guys been working together on a few things too, right? We're trying to get a grasp on what it is that we can talk to him about without us. We ain't trying to attack nobody when they come on. So just want to get a grasp on what's happening.
No, we work with everybody. We have to. So it is what it is. Look, any agency out here trying to work to reduce crime, I'm a support. I don't know, the stats are the stats. It seems like, at least I keep hearing there's a shooting every night. It's just people ain't dying like they used to. I think part of that is medical reasons. People, technology as far as surgery and things have gotten better. And part of it is, I mean, this is gonna sound bad, but I don't know any other way to say it. A lot of these little knuckleheads don't know how to shoot. I mean,
it's true.
These dudes is, they running and shooting around, running and ducking and shooting. The guys I grew up with, they just stood there. I ain't saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just saying, like, it's a different mentality today, and I think we got a lot of internet and social media thugs, and it is what it is. I think even then, though, we got to figure out how to get to them and make things safer and better. But so any agency out here trying to do something, or any nonprofit trying to do something, that's good on them. My thing is, if we're going to cure the crime and poverty problem, it starts with jobs.
Yeah, that's interesting. It feels like we just got lucky everybody died. But everything is still going on like it is. And I think a lot of people, a lot of the chat chimers, a lot of us are all kind of wondering. Yeah, it sounds good that everybody's trying to do something about it, but what's actually being done?
Right.
What's actually being done? I mean, like you said, you don't have the stats. We don't have the stats. We're gonna bring on brother Barney to ask him directly, and try to find out some things. But what I'm getting is that they just had a little summit over there at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation with the Lewis brothers and also brother Kasim. And I feel like those brothers are doing a lot of that feet on the ground, trying to work with the kids directly type of work. And I've been hearing from them, that they are seen as extreme when it comes to the work that they're trying to do. But I only see the brothers who are doing that stuff, the ones that are making any kind of real direct impact. Now, it could just be that I'm not seeing exactly what these bigger organizations are doing to fight the crime, because like you said, word on the street is that we still having shootings every night. So we just got lucky and nobody died. I'm not seeing any real change from last summer when it comes to that kind of thing, except for people that's feet on the ground trying to help. So that's kind of where I'm standing on. I was wondering if you were seeing the same thing or feeling the same way. You kind of, like you said, you work with everybody. You've been working with these brothers a little bit tougher than we have. I'm just trying to find out what's being done.
Look, at the end of the day, I can only go off of my lived experience, right? And at the end of the day, when a kid that I used to coach got killed, if you ain't got a relationship with these streets, see, now you got me trying to be nice and think about what I'm saying. If you ain't got a relationship with these streets, you ain't gonna be able to have that conversation. And so the Lewises and what everybody, like, they got relationships with individuals. And when this young man got killed, it was because I had relationships with a few of these people that I had them come stay at my house, and I knew it was going down. And I'm like, y'all staying in my house. And if you ain't got that relationship to make some of these knuckleheads make that pause before they go do something, then you just talking. And I ain't saying they just talking, but what I am saying is some of the people you just mentioned who are out here in the streets got the relationships with these individuals, know when one of their cousins gets shot or one of their friends get shot, can pick up the phone and say, nah, we about to go do something. You gonna hang out with me today. And at the high levels, and that includes myself now that I'm not really involved in sports like I used to be, we just taking credit. We taking credit because of the other brothers out there who are actually making the phone call. And that's why you don't see me jumping up and down saying, oh, we doing these great things, because I know they the ones who are making the phone call when somebody gets shot, saying you ain't gonna retaliate. I'm gonna meet you at the hospital, but you ain't going nowhere else. And they're the ones at UNMC at 3 a.m. with those individuals and those families, making sure at 2:30 they ain't going back out trying to do something.
Man.
Tony Johnson 12 is asking something that is on the top of my mind, because I'm not ready to dismiss everything that people like the Empowerment Network are doing quite yet either. They might be on these higher levels that have access to funds, but can they team up with some of these organizations like the Black Agenda Alliance and help fund them in order to get some of those funds to them in order to do more work? Tony Johnson 12 is saying, how do street groups get proper funding? I love that question. What do you think?
The problem with checks is you got to be able to account for that check and
report.
And you got two different. It's hard. It's like ref. I'm gonna put it in this way. It's like ref in basketball. There's a lot of games out there that you can go to OSA and get a check from, but a lot of folks want to do that Catholic League so they can get a $20 in their hand, and it's just two different ways of operating, and it's really hard to blend the two. And so you got to figure out how you blend the two and still be able to account for those dollars.
Yeah, there's some people in the community who are making the phone calls, just listening to conversations and listening to mentalities. A lot of it is, I even go back to when we had, I think Brother Wayne, you were there. It was a state of emergency North Omaha meeting at at North High. And some of the organizers there were saying like we just do the work. We're not worried about the social media and worried about taking the pictures but those pictures, that's the type of stuff that's documented that you can prove that we did the work so you can keep getting the funding. And it's just a mentality thing that's very interesting. That we, it is a gap that makes it hard because we actually, Paul and I had this conversation with Leo Lewis specifically about how to quantify and qualify some of this stuff and how do you even look at it in a way that can be measured. And like how do you measure phone calls and measure shootings that didn't happen because you made that phone call? Like how do you measure that? You know what I mean? How can you really say what that is? And that's a full job in itself.
One thing we can do, Brother Knight in the chat. Good morning. He says then there needs to be a way to where those who are in the street get public acknowledgement. A couple things I do want to say on that is we will be the one that media group that will give that kind of acknowledgement, the same kind of attention that some of the other leaders and groups are getting nationally even right now. We definitely want to make sure that happens because they deserve that credit and that support as well. And also, but yeah, to Buddy's point, like record keeping, show you gotta be able to show that if you're after trying to get funds for that kind of stuff,
some people aren't.
Some people just aren't, and that makes sense to me. But I still am asking the question: is there any way that these organizations can partner up some kind of way? If one is good at getting the money, can we work it out to where they can get that money, and then they can connect with the people that have feet on the ground in the street making it happen? Is there something that
I think there's a way we can do it. We just gotta have that conversation with folks, and ego's got to be set aside. I don't want to work with this person because of this, and I don't want to. He was dating my baby mama 4 years ago, and come on, man. Hey, that ain't just our community. That's in white folks' world everywhere. People take these personal issues, and it is what it is.
Have feelings with boys.
Humans
for real. Yeah.
But I did want to bring it back to the legislation question because I feel like this could be a path forward to kind of do some of the things that we're talking about as far as the programming. And you mentioned again the legislation is to get the oversight and the programming for those coming out of a sentence. So if you do get this legislation passed, what's the programming like? Do you have programs lined up? Do you have individuals in mind for programs? Could this be a way to work in the BAA for some of those programs?
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll set aside, we'll say year 2025. So we're going to give everybody a year or 2 years to build out their idea and their program. And basically it'll be like an RFP type situation where you'll be able to apply. So I'm gonna give everybody the same equal chance and say, put it together. Put your transitional house, put your whatever you want to put together, you see as your vision. Here you go. And we got a new director who's a brother. He seems to be pretty solid. Let's figure it out. So I'm giving them the long, I guess, a long runway to figure this out. But the thing of it, from my perspective, the reason we got to do it this year is because we got to start putting money behind it. Well, my fear is if we wait 2 years or we keep talking about it, then when the economy turns down, they'll just be like, we ain't got no money. And then everything's left out again.
There you go. We have Brother Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on him. Sitting in the wings. We're going to bring him up. Brother McKinney, good morning to you. I appreciate you joining us.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
You shuffle.
Man, you packed, man. You packed, you ready to roll?
I'm definitely not packed.
It sounds about right. About right.
You going to where the Underground Railroad is. You don't need to bring nothing but what you got on.
Just go.
Well, good morning to you, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know that you got a lot going on with your family this week, and of course, we've been having you in our what we call thoughts and prayers. I hate to say thoughts and prayers these days because it sounds disingenuous because of this, because of the connotations, but really are thinking and praying for y'all on this situation that's going on with you and your family. So,
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
How you holding up, bro? How you feeling?
I'm all right, man. It's been rough, but trying to get through it. It ain't, it take time, so you just got to take it day by day.
Yeah. One foot in front of the other, man. So,
You said you took your daughter to school this morning. How's she holding up? How's she doing?
She good, kids got you doing extra stuff. That's why I'm so late. So
Yeah, I know all about that.
Well, right on, man. We are we definitely are keeping the prison reform situation front of mind. We've learned that from y'all that's not where enough attention has been getting to, and so we've been waiting to actually ask you some questions on that because of the fact that we got somebody put in Friends of First Sky Omaha that you were getting some pushback on some of the prison reform stuff that you were doing last week, and we've been anxiously anticipating you coming on so we can ask you about it. What's going on with your efforts?
no, it's just the same efforts with Senator Wayne. It's just having this battle with those that don't necessarily want to see some changes in the criminal justice system. The typical people, the county attorneys, and those people who are not really looking at the issues with a lot of a lot of thought. They just like, oh, we're just gonna be tough on crime. Oh, if we change this is gonna be bad. And I think when it comes to senators, I think people prey on like their deepest fears, and that's been an issue. So the other day we had a whole judiciary exec session for like 3 to 4 hours, and that was the first time ever since I've been there we did it, and I thought it was good because you realize, especially for judiciary, if you don't, I mean, I ain't a lawyer and I'm still learning, but if you don't even know the basics and you own judiciary, that's a problem.
Oh yeah, it's a red flag.
And we had to break some stuff down and have some good conversation.
Okay, so some teaching had to be done.
Where were the hot moments? Give me the juice. Where were the hot moments?
Well, I ain't gonna say which senator, but
Paul.
One was talking and he kept saying the county attorneys and police, and I was like, look, bro, hold on. What is your personal opinion of this? And he didn't have one. And it just told me everything I needed to know after that.
Talking points.
McKinney said, what is your personal feeling on this issue? He said, I don't have one.
Oh man! So why are you talking? Why are you talking, sir?
You repping some organizations then? Okay.
Talking because he got some points. So agenda.
We got that script. Man. Well, I mean, I'm happy to hear that you feel like it was a positive situation to be able to be in, and that hopefully that means there's some changes going to be able to be made, if I understand.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my question. What are the perspectives of, some of these reforms being pushed? Are you feeling hopeful? How are senators responding as far as, conversations, personal conversations? What is that looking like?
I'm trying to stay optimistic.
Okay.
It's still an uphill battle, to be honest with you. Just a lot of back and forth and trying to figure out who is the person you actually need to talk to. That was an issue last year why we didn't get it done. It was too many people that had to say yes, and it's sort of the issue this year where you got multiple people that are in it that it muddies up the process of trying to get something done because you don't necessarily know who you're talking to, and somebody could say I agree with something, but then they got to go talk to somebody else who tell them not to agree with it, and then back to square one. Yeah.
So, like the county attorneys, we got 96 county attorneys across the state, and I'm negotiating with all of them.
Oh man.
So what happens in Omaha is completely different than what happens in Scottsbluff, and so we have a former prosecutor on the committee now, and I think she said multiple times, no way this is happening. And I'd be like, here you go. And she's like, that don't even make sense. I'm like, exactly. And so I think, and she's from Lincoln, so I think she's realizing there's a difference in even rural Nebraska right now. We had a conversation where they were like, nobody's doing time on a habitual, like not for no class 4 felony, not for no, that just don't make sense. And I'm like, here you go. Here goes a newspaper article from 2 years ago that was about this many people, and Madison County is the main one. And she's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why are we doing that? We should be using class 4 felonies to get people into drug court. And I'm like, exactly. We're not. And so it's just this education process that we got to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened last week is the governor's office, or this week, the governor's office tried to run around McKinney and I on our committee. And so I think everybody realized that was a mistake. And then we had this 4.5 hour exec session where it moved the needle on a lot of things. And I think we're going to get something done this year. But part of it is you gotta meet people where they are.
Man, and it seems like people are outside of the know. Like it's kind of concerning that so many senators just don't know what's going. Man, I just heard Fierce Styles in my head, or Doughboy. Either they don't know, don't show, or just don't care about what goes on in the hood. Man, like how you a senator and you don't know?
And you guys are my heroes, because I have a hard time breaking down stuff to people who should know what they should know but don't, and then I got to start from scratch, so I feel like you guys are doing a lot of that. Brother McKinney, you're still pretty new. You said you're in school right now, you're learning about the laws and so on. So how is it that you come to the conclusions that you do, and then with having to find the language to teach other people that same stuff too?
I would say I just ask questions. I lean on Justin to answer some questions I don't have. I try to read up on some things like that. Like, so it's different ways to try to catch up as best as possible.
Mm-hmm. And
because for me, it's like
we're gonna have a joke this morning, but it's real. Hey, when McKinney look right, he going after you. I'm just letting you. He be sitting in a chair. He look up and to the right. I just put my head down in the committee. I'm like, oh, he going after him. Just let it go.
Is that what did you used to do that in your wrestling days too, bro? Is that what the indication?
About to finish him.
Finish him. So where do you? Let me ask you this question then. How do you find the patience? And obviously I'm asking because I need to know. How do you find the patience to explain things to people that should already know these things?
I think that just comes from just being in sports and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It probably comes from there. It's hard though. So some days I'll be like, what? This is crazy. Like I initially, because we took a break right away, and I walked out, and I think I told Justin, I'm like, bro, I'm losing brain cells right now, because and not to knock them, but you don't realize it until you in that moment or in that room having that conversation how much they don't know, and it's like, damn, like this is why it's so hard.
Yeah. Tony Johnson in the chat is asking, what can community do to help your efforts? And also, what can nonprofits do and not do when it comes to advocating the legislation?
Dang. Nonprofits can do whatever they want. I mean, so the rule on and I ain't giving legal advice, but the rule is basically, as long as the majority of your time you're not advocating for legislation, you're not in any violations of any rules. We got nonprofits who come down all the time. But the biggest thing is just you got to meet people where they are. So like I'll explain to somebody, there's somebody, if somebody, one of your loved ones get killed by somebody who had mental health issues, and you sitting there talking to them about mental health, and you want to make sure this and that, and you don't know that background, that conversation isn't going anywhere, because they're going to say, yeah, Justin, but once that person gets off of their meds, they're going to kill somebody. And that's always a fear, right? At the end of the day, that could happen any day. And so, but if you don't know where they are and how to navigate that conversation, they're not ever going to you're never going to get to a point where you can have a real conversation about mental health with them.
Yeah. That's why I always say conversation rules the nation. That's just it's a real thing.
But it's that kind of, we got a 90-day session and a 60-day session. You got to meet all these new people who come in every 2 years, get to know them on a personal level to move whatever you're trying to move forward. And that's hard to do. It is.
Yeah. It's hard to do in any position, anything, man. I think about the few little sales jobs I had, same thing. You're supposed to get in there, get to know these folks, getting to know people and finding out where their motivations lie and so on and so forth. So much more important in a job like yours, where laws are being made. You got to try to find out where people are coming from and all that. So I really appreciate that as well. And as far as the conversation about the prison situation, prison reform, you mentioned every time when you came on last, you were both mentioning that that it's hard to get people engaged and involved, even people that are in the situation and have family members in the situation, let alone people that are want y'all to be tough on crime and don't have any inclination to change anything up anyway. So again, where we got to start from, I guess, for us personally, for First Sky Omaha is talking to the folks that these in our community that these things are affecting and trying to get them rallied. You come up with any more thoughts on that, on how to get people engaged?
But it goes back to society in general when we think about criminal justice and all that. Sometimes people, no matter what side you're on, people celebrate people going to jail.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I think that's a problem. Like, I would never celebrate nobody going to jail.
Yeah.
Or just that type of thing. And it makes you understand why we're in a position we're in, because the way we look at crime and the way we look at people that are accused of it or alleged to have done something, we just write them off on both sides of the argument. Like so and so did that, stupid, and people celebrate it. And I don't like Trump, but I ain't gonna celebrate if you go to the pen.
Yeah.
Well, I am, so I
but
I hear what you're saying, though. Yeah,
that's a very interesting point, because you do hear that sentiment, and it's like people in the community just look at our youth as just miscreants and are okay with just throwing them away, which kind of adds another element. Because I'm thinking, when you hear the tough on crime, you hear tough on crime, just that statement or that phrase, I'll be honest, I think of kind of redneck cops and the good old boy network, and just really the slave catchers. I mean, that's the mentality I think of. But you go ahead, Paul. What do you think of when you hear that?
I think of the Democrat. I think of being living in California during the time that Clinton put the 3 strikes laws in and all that. I think about the Democrats pulling that tough on crime stuff so that they can seem moderate or whatever was going on. I mean,
right. So y'all two haven't actually talked to these people, and I'm curious to your perspective. Like, where do you think that tough on crime mentality comes from? Which is kind of the mentality that's used a lot when you're met with opposition in prison reform. You got to be tough on crime. Like, what does that mean?
I think it comes from the perception that you could lock people up and just throw them away, and
that'd be it.
That's it.
I think it comes from the laziness and the fear. It's the fear of one. When we started judiciary, I told everybody on the committee, this is the hardest committee you'll ever be on. It's the hardest committee you'll ever be on, because it's the fear of the one. We can do 10,000 things right and create these programs to make sure that 10,000 people have a stable job and they come out and be the most productive person in the world. But it's that one who goes out and messes up, that's plastered in your face. And if they happen to kill somebody or sexually assault somebody, then you sitting there at night thinking, I'm the one who let this person out. And you forget about the 10,000 people you don't change their lives around. It's the fear of one. And that fear of one drives so much policy around crime reform, criminal justice reform.
And it's interesting that we just got interviewed about the Nico Jenkins case. And in Nebraska, that fear of one has an actual name that I keep on hearing being brought up, and it's still being brought up. And so, yeah, it makes sense, man. This what you're talking about. Sitting around feeling that way. I really understand where that comes. What you're saying there, it comes from that fear. I'm also thinking about what Brother McKinney was just saying too. That both sides. When we had to break the news about these federal indictments that just happened with Palermo and so on and so forth, it was the same kind of reaction to that. If they're out here tripping, they need to go to jail. Here we hear, corrupt politicians and so on and so forth is kind of the sentiment. So like, you're right, man. If even when it happens the other way around, people are, we as bad as we might hate the prison system or hate the jail system, or feel oppressed by the fact that so many of us are there. When the tables are turned, we saying the same stuff. Lock them up, throw away the key. So maybe we all need to engage in some prison reform of the brain first.
Man, I mean, yeah, I mean, even the mentality of prison, like it's man, yeah, we can go left field, but self-governance, morality is definitely an issue. That is.
I mean, think about it though. I was at Northwest High School when the O.J. Simpson trial verdict was announced, right? And you saw immediately a divide among racial lines. There was black folks who were like, "We know this brother did it, but we got one. We finally won one." You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't make it right or wrong. It just, there's this thing about prison and crime and how it has affected our community that has left some people who, I mean, look, let me, I'm about to go on a tangent, so I'm stop. But there's somebody on our committee who says, what he say, McKinney? He said, I think the jury got it. I think the two juries got it wrong in Ernest Jackson. The Ernest Jackson jury was right. They convicted the right person. And that is completely farthest from the truth of what happened in that entire situation. And I said, really? You telling me two different jurors in two different trials believed this other person, that it was self-defense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he was just like, yeah, I think the jury was wrong. And then McKinney was like, wait a minute, if this was the tables were turned, you would always say the jury was, 100% right, prosecution 100% right. But now for some reason you feel this jury, the other two juries who found Cooper Ryder to be innocent, was wrong. And again, it goes back to the fear of one. And what it came down to, they were just like, but what about this one situation over here? What about this one situation? And we spent an hour and a half going through scenarios about one situation here, one situation there. And that's how criminal justice policy is done. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to see any fairness in that situation, that system at all, when it's really based on people's feelings about a thing.
Man.
It is 8:37 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, if you're just joining us, we are with brothers Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne. Put some respect on their names. If you have any final questions on some of these things, as a matter of fact, Mama God in the chat is saying, on the real side, Senator McKinney, if someone walked into your family member's home, killed them during a robbery, I can see them wanting that individual going to prison forever. Do you sympathize with the family's feelings?
Yeah, I mean, when I say I'm just not gonna celebrate it, I do think accountability is needed, and we should have a level of accountability in society. But that doesn't mean I'm about to stand up and party because somebody going to jail. Right. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Yes, I would sympathize and believe in accountability. I'm just not. Me personally, I'm not, especially as a black man, because I think all prisons are another form of slavery for me. So
it is.
It definitely is. Any more questions that you guys have in the chat, go ahead and throw them in. We only got a few minutes left with the brothers senators. We appreciate you guys always coming on, man, and sharing your feelings about some things. I've learned so much about what's going on with our laws, legislations, and everything in the city just because of this segment. So I really appreciate you guys coming back and coming back again. So most def. And also, if you have any questions, if you guys have any questions for us as well, mostly we end these talks with what can we do? How can we support? Again, what's coming up? What is it that we need to be looking out for? And what can we do to support any of those things? There was a question about your non-vote yesterday. Judy Prinsley reminded me right there. On the abortion situation, we wanted to ask you directly, what was your reason for not voting?
So a non-vote on a cloture is a vote. You got to have 33 affirmative votes to vote. Abortion is an issue I don't talk about. Those who know my story and how I became and got here in this world is a personal story. I'm adopted, so I'll let people figure out where that is. But the short story is my mother was ran out of Kansas when she became pregnant by a black man, and she was homeless in Omaha. for months, and it wasn't until the Salvation Army allowed her to stay there on a cot on 24th and Pratt to make sure that I was born. So abortion is a personal issue. I don't like, and I don't believe that government should be in the room with my doctor. So that's why I don't ever support those kind of bills. But it's a personal issue, and it isn't an issue that I talk about. So yesterday, me not voting was me standing in solidarity with, I think, my principles about government not being in my doctor's room telling me what me and my doctor should be deciding. In this case, a woman and her doctor deciding. But I don't even like dealing with that issue because for me personally, I'm pro-life, but how I legislate is different than my personal beliefs.
Man, I was actually going to ask you about that. First of all, thank you for sharing that story. And second of all, thank you for, as a journalist, you got to try to. It's a part of it's a thing. It's human nature, to be a challenge. But I understand the need to be objective on some things, and just sometimes it's hard. But thank you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of my toughest votes because it conflicted with how I personally feel. But I think too many times we have people who get up and say my religious belief is this, and that's why I'm voting this way. And I think you got to leave your religion and your personal beliefs at the door, and you got to stay to your principles of, do you think government should be doing X, Y, or Z? And this week I've actually been saying it over and over. There's a bill on E85 mandating. I said somehow I'm more of a conservative than most conservatives here. I think there are many things that government should not be involved in, and that's one of them. But how I personally feel is how I personally feel. But I don't think I can legislate that. And here's what I mean by that. We passed that here 6 weeks. That means folks in Omaha are just going to drive over to Iowa because Iowa has a permanent or a temporary injunction on their 6 weeks. So all we're doing is creating a system where those who are rich, those who have the ability to go to a different state to get that done, will get it done. And so if we're going to try to solve that issue, then we need to figure out how to solve that issue. So let's look at contraceptives. Let's look at so people don't have to get in those situations. But don't tell me you pro-life, and then once that baby's born, you against SNAP, you against making sure they have the ability to have a house, and making sure, like, pro-life means you pro-life from beginning all the way through, and that's my principle.
Right. Respect, bro. Respect. Really appreciate you breaking that down, man. There's an underlying thing here that we think about when it comes to watching the legislature. We watching what's going on the floor there. We listening to what people are saying on the mic. And we wonder every second of the day, what is somebody's principles? What's somebody underlying? What are they sticking to? What are they are they reading from a script, or do they have some actual feeling about a situation, or they have that thought through the situation they're voting on? You just kind of confirmed, a style of play that that I really personally appreciate happening there in the legislature. So really, really appreciate you saying all that and breaking that down, man. For sure. Gwen Easter, you had a question and you said, please answer my question, but I was looking up in the chat. I can't see where your question's at. So maybe if you can throw that in there, we'll have one last question there. As you can see, people in the chat are giving you guys some props, giving you props for that, for you breaking that down as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do have something from Gwen Easter. She did extend an invite. It's not quite a question, so if you do have a different question that you're
That's what I was asking about the question. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I do want to extend that. That'd be, I'm sure the senators, kind of in their wheelhouse. Sister Gwen Easter says, I would appreciate if the senators would attend the Commission on African American Affairs next meet and greet meeting, which will be held in Lincoln. We will send out information soon. So, yeah,
not a problem.
You guys get on the road today to go out to the spot?
Yeah, I gotta go pick up a car and give him time to pack, and then I gotta wand him down, make sure he ain't taking anything illegal, because I ain't, McKinney sometimes.
So you don't want him riding dirty all the way to West Omaha, bro.
I just wand him down, but make sure it's all good. That's all.
Well, all right. Well, man, we appreciate you guys. We'll let you guys go ahead and get on the road, man.
Yeah, man.
And any other questions you guys have, just put them in the chat or put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha. I'm sure the brothers will go back and check it out. The question is about mental health drugs. I didn't see your question though.
I'm gonna have to go back. Apologize if it got lost in the chat.
Yeah, I scrolled up quite a ways trying to find it. If you can drop it in right now, then we can ask you real quick before we get them on their way. Any last words, fellas? Like I said, any last things that we need to be looking at or showing up to or helping?
I would say next week the budget is coming up, so pay attention. I mean, they got the money for the prison in the budget, so I'll be talking about that and how long it is, and we'll go from there. But the budget is next week, and I think even just not even on the prison thing, I think the budget is super important because it's telling you what are the priorities of our state and our government, and we need to make sure that the money is going to the right places. So make sure y'all pay attention to that.
Absolutely.
Our budget is what I call our moral document. It's where we decide to put our money where our mouth is. And so I'm against the budget right now, even though it has North Omaha money in it, $240 million in it. I'm against it primarily because we don't have any money set aside for reentry and criminal justice reform. And the stat, again, I'm the conservative here now. I don't know why I am, but the stats show by the day one we open that prison, it's going to be overcrowded. So they're going to have to build another one. And so to me, on a conservative principle, it's like we can't build our way out of this, y'all. So we need to take a stand here. So for those who think y'all got allies with us, I would tell you to watch this vote.
There you go.
Watch this vote. We're going to be paying attention to it, man. Appreciate you guys coming on for sure. Thank you very much. Let you guys get on your way. Don't be riding dirty to Brother McKinney. Be cool. Be cool.
Seriously, y'all be safe on that road. And again, man, thank you, Senator Wayne, for sharing your story. A few people actually in the chat saying that they were also adopted and your story resonated. So, it's always beautiful when we kind of, share and shared experiences and things like that. So.
One last thing before we get out of here, man. Gwen Easter, she reminded me of what she was asking. She says, I would like them to do a study on how many inmates are given mental health drugs, and ask inmates, are they forced to take them, and if they are being given experimental drugs. The question I had somebody in my family that actually in
the youth arena, there are a lot of experimental drugs. Actually, all mental health around youth is typically what they call off-label. Which means that they were actually FDA approved for something else and over time have been given. So that's pretty much all juvenile drugs. There was a bill on that I had last year. As far as in corrections or in jails, there are a lot of studies out there, and what they are finding is roughly about 60 to 65% of those who are in prison have a mental health issue.
That kind of reminds me, you don't have to really get into it, just a quick yes or no, Senator Wayne. Are you still pushing the PTSD bill? Is that?
Man, that's why I'm driving the shadow.
Okay. We'll ask about that. We'll talk about that later on.
I already got the money for Fort Robinson. I don't need to go out there, but I ain't got the money yet for PTSD. So,
good luck. Good luck.
Right on, brothers. We'll catch up with you guys next week, man. Drive safe.
All right, brothers.
All right, man. Peace. Always a pleasure talking to you, brothers, man. Thank you everybody for all of your questions and comments, and I hope we got some questions answered for you guys too. Just talking to the brothers directly. I mean, as you can see, all we got to do is ask, and ask with some respect, and they'll share it with us if they want, and they usually do. So I really appreciate those brothers, man. I'm learning so much from them. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. We'll take a quick break and come right back. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Ghost listeners, chat chimers, radio listeners. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd in the DS is going down. All of you Chad Chimers Ghost listeners, thank you, Judy Prinzler. Says always such an excellent segment. I learned so much. Me too. Mama God said we appreciate you. We really do. I really appreciate everybody that's joined in there as well. Wanda Lewis, there's a waiting list for prisons. Believe that, just like Section 8, a waiting list, bro. A waiting list.
Man.
For prison. Von Chapman says if they don't deal with poverty, the prison gonna stay full. Ain't that the truth? It's got me asking these questions about who followed the money, who's benefiting from all these prisons getting built. Who's directly benefiting from that? These are these private prisons, state prisons, state getting money.
I'll give you a thread.
Okay.
The construction companies and who's tied into these construction companies that are building these, because they're definitely getting a check. Yeah,
but that's one check. That's one look. That's one lick right there. The rest of the continuation of this prison process. Who's making that? Who's making them funds? Who's making them funds on a regular basis? Certain states that I've lived in before, there was a lot of private prisons, and so we know private corporations is making all that money. I don't know if that's the same thing that's going on here. It seems like the state is about it here.
Well, either way, the economics are still the same as far as, private or public. Somebody has to contract to provide those sheets. Somebody has to contract to provide towels. Somebody has to contract to provide plates,
phone systems.
That's big. Who are those companies, and who are those companies lobbying? Again, you heard what the senators said. There's senators that they talk to that, I agree with this should be changed. We should have this prison reform. And then they go talk to whoever's handling them, and they change their vote. So again, who's behind that agenda? Of course, there's got to be money tied in. So we definitely should look more into it.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump into some haps, man. We got about 9 minutes left.
Man.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Let's get to a little bit of haps, and we'll pick up on some of the things that we left off here on Monday. Monday morning we will be having Brother Kasim on from the BAA, from the Black Agenda Alliance, coming up on Monday. Do we have anybody coming from the Reader on Monday?
Yeah, Bridget.
All right, so one of my favorite people, Bridget Fogarty, is from the Reader, is going to be on Monday as well. News Monday, stay tuned for that. But for right now, let's jump into some haps.
What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the haps. It's time for us to talk about some things that's going on around town, and also time for you to tell us what's going on this weekend. Definitely need to find out what's happening around town. There's a few things going on. I got to mention, first of all, what's happening at the Benson Theater tonight. This is opening night for 12th Night, Shakespeare's 12th Night. Very interesting production of this particular deal here. So it's 2 actors that are playing about 6 different characters each, and doing the whole full-length play. And Delaney Jackson, I'm a new fan of Delaney Jackson. She's cold. I'm like anxious to see her perform tonight. She's been an actor around town here, and in other places too. So in particular, I'm really, really anxious to see this show. If you guys check it out, if you guys want to come out to this, opening night is tonight. I'm actually going to be there tonight for opening night, but it's running Saturday and Sunday at 2:00 as well. So check it out at the Benson Theater. Go to bensontheater.org for tickets and come check out a pretty amazing production of what's going on here with this Shakespeare's 12th Night, or What Two Will. It's got an alternative title to it. It was interesting stuff. Have you guys been hearing anything about this expo over at the Highlander Wellness Expo coming up, 75 North? No More Empty Pots. I stumbled across this event, and now that I'm looking at it, I don't see a date, so I have to find that. But I'm stumbled across this event because No More Empty Pots have been posting photos, and you guys have been putting them in Friends of First Sky Omaha about the construction that's going on there over there where the greenhouse roof stuff is over there at the Highlander. So lots of new construction that's happened. I guess they're gonna be in there growing some food and stuff like that, man.
Good.
No More Empty Pots is an organization that has been thriving. We really love. I can't remember the lady's name who runs that, but she's dynamic And I was happy to hear that they were part of this situation here. They finally gonna make use of those greenhouse spaces over there, I guess, to grow food in this food desert. So if you guys got any more information on this, let me know, and we'll maybe have No More Empty Pots people on to talk about what's going on over here and see how that's going to affect what's going on 30th Street. Pretty interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah, I know a few people that have gone through No More Empty Pots, man. Definitely a very useful resource in the community, and helpful, organization. I've done some stories on them as far as pantry work and providing meals, during the pandemic. So yeah,
man.
big shout out to No More Empty Pots, and then also the Highlander. We actually spoke to them several years back when the greenhouse project was just getting up. I know they had some funding behind that, which kind of dried up. So it's nice to see that get back up, man. Big shout out to
Word
them.
up. Right on, right on. Also coming up, Heart Ministry Center sent this over. Speaking of food,
Man,
a lot of barbecue going on here. Was a lot of barbecue happening here on May 7th, 12 to 4. Free exams. I want to ask them what the free exams is about. We'll see what's happening there. Because after you eat all that barbecue, you might have to have a heart check or something. I don't know.
man.
We'll see. But this is for the love of barbecue, man. Rib Shack Smokehouse. That's what's up. It's brought to you by #lunchbag. Also Omaha Star. So, some heavy hitters here on this, man. Heart Ministry. I'm learning a lot about Heart Ministry Center. They're over there right across the street from the Culture House. And apparently they're very, very open to collaborate and stuff with a lot of people in the neighborhood on some things. And they also are working on prison reform and stuff like that too. So finding some people in the mix there that are on the same page and going after the same stuff that we're happening. Miss Winnie, we are too. We didn't talk too much about OOIC quite yet, but that is definitely something that's a headline for us that it caught on fire. So
we didn't get to get into the hot news of the day.
Not getting into the hot news of the day because we're talking about some of this hot stuff. Speaking of food, we're gonna keep on the food here. You know that we never talked about Jackson's Fair Deal Cafe opening.
No,
It was an opening a few weeks back. It might even have been a month back now, and we just fully. I had this flyer sitting here this whole time and forgot to talk about it. But has anybody been to check out the new Jackson's Fair Deal Cafe? Talked to actual Michael Scott yesterday, who said that him and Tim Clark went over there and checked it out, and the food is good, and they're happy to be back on the block and so on and so forth. Everybody's saying the food is great. If you guys had it, let us know.
I have heard somebody else mention that about that. I have heard some things even down here in Georgia. But also while we're on the food, Mayor Sanchez says Smoking Doja has a new item out. Doja rolls from Doja Wings and things.
Yes.
Shout out Smoking Doja. Yeah,
hey,
shout out.
Smoking Doja. You know me, man. That's my number one go to. Anytime we do a kickback, I'm like, I gotta have Smoking Doja out there on that grill, man.
I know.
Be killing it. Be killing the game. Amy H. No Dot says I'll find out about the free exams and get the info from you over there. Oh, that's what's up. Appreciate that. Tony Johnson 12 says what happened at the grocery store on the TD Sanders ran. It's a good question. I don't know what happened to it. I'm not even aware if it's open or not, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the Fair Deal grocery.
It's shut down. Yep.
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna keep going here. April 28th through the 30th, there's a Cultivating Black Family Experience talking about autism. It's an Autism and Black conference. A lot of people that I'm meeting now have children that have autism, that have autistic children, and they're finding some support for that could be difficult at times. So I'm with this situation here. I did not know about this organization until I saw this flyer, but autisminblack.org is having a conference. April 28th through 30th is coming up because that is today, starting today. Join us virtually for a weekend experience focusing on autism and the Black family experience. We want to provide a safe space for attendees to grow and learn. Our goal is always for attendees to leave feeling empowered with the resources from the conference so that they can better serve their families in our community. So I think this is a very, very good situation here for sure. And if anybody has any more information on that, let us know. But yeah, definitely check that out. Let me see where you go. So go to autisminblack.org/conference 2023 to register. Then they'll give you all the information you need to jump on virtually for this 2-day event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, Paul, there's a library survey. You got any more information
Yes.
on that?
I do not, except for that they have extended that survey until the May 1st. And so I'm here. Let me put the survey in the chat real quick. I'm putting the survey in the chat. This is the library survey. So we've talked about this before. I've been on the library steering committee. They're trying to get some information from people who around these certain branches that say, hey, this is the stuff that's needed in there. Here's a survey that you can fill out that'll let you express some of that. So definitely check that out. That survey will be live until the 1st of May. Definitely check it out, man. More voices. Same thing with everything, just like everything. More voices that are heard on this, the more we can have a say in what's going to be happening in our branches and stuff like that. So definitely check that out. Omaha is on the forefront of doing something with the library that nobody else is doing. It's really interesting that, you know, most of our branches are going to be like do spaces plus books plus whatever is relevant to those particular areas. Is really exciting, to be honest, man. The change that'll happen there with these libraries will be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, appreciate you reminding me about that for sure.
Also, Luminarium. We forgot to mention that the Luminarium is now open. Again, we've been talking about STEM in the community, and you know the need to just introduce the youth to STEM. Make sure that they're on top of that. And that's a new resource in the community. Doors are now open to visitors. Hopefully, we'll be able to extend and build a partnership with them as well. As something we'll be working on. But urge everybody to check it out. Luminarium, a new science type building. Check it out. Check it out.
Tony Johnson 12 is asking anybody attending the housing forum. That's a good question. Let us know about that. That's coming up. Mama God says check out Friends of Friends for information on how to order graduation gift baskets. So now that she's off of the Easter basket, she's on graduation gift baskets.
Hey,
that's what's up. Yeah, man, absolutely. And moving along real quick too. There's something that's coming up here that I thought was interesting. Douglas County. Let's see. Mark your calendar for Saturday, April 29th. That's tomorrow. 2 p.m. to hear Douglas County Commissioner Roger Garcia chat on the new juvenile detention center. So they have a link there. I'll go ahead and put this whole post in Friends for Sky Omaha. You can grab the link. Mark might want to hear what he has to say about the Juvenile Justice Center. More information that we can get on that, the better. Yeah. And this is Douglas County Commissioner Roger Garcia talking about it. So definitely check that out tomorrow if you get a chance. We'll put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha. Mark your calendars because May 19th through the 21st, celebrating the life and legacy of Malcolm X. This is at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, celebration of life for Brother Malcolm here. And you know, we definitely are happy that the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation is continuing on this celebration that they've been doing, each year on different levels. But yeah, honoring El Haj Malik El Shabazz is going down May 19th through the 21st. Big things happening on the grounds there. Mark your calendars and get to looking at that. Go to malcolmxmemorialfoundation.org and get that information there for sure. Let's see. Also, this is something I'm just putting this here because, some of you might want to go ahead and go check out the Empowerment Network situation here. I don't know if you got the money to go see Brother Magic Johnson, but if you do, here it is. Don't forget, it's happening Friday, June 9th, 2023 at the CHI Health Center, Omaha. Very big venue there. 16th annual Rebuilding the Village Conference. We remiss if we didn't talk about it, man. Brother Magic Johnson, powerful figure in the house. Brought to you by the Empowerment Network, and we don't talk to every single person in the chat about how they feel about what's going on with empowerment, but some of you may be working with them as well. And like Brother Wayne said today, any black organization that's trying to do something, we're gonna try to work with. We'll get to know them more and talk to Brother Willie Barney more about that and what the outcome is for their efforts. But they're definitely doing some things, and they're in national news now about what's going on in Omaha. We have feelings and things to say about these things, of course, but it's still happening. So we're definitely going to let you know about that. Friday, June 9th, CHI Health Center, 16th Annual Rebuilding the Village Conference, featuring the lunch keynote, Brother Magic Johnson. So he'll be here in town. Maybe we can get him over to the Rib Shack or something and have a real lunch with him. Man. We're coming up. It's already 9:04, man. I'm going way past. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that we got these things in. And one of the most important things to get in here is this is coming up April 29th, which is tomorrow, 12 to 2. They're going to be celebrating the legacy, doing a street renaming for Brother Marshall Taylor. Man. powerful figure to a lot of us in North Omaha in a big way. African American bookstore is a staple in our community for sure. And everybody knows that he passed away a few years back, and so we're going to be out here and be commemorating his legacy by participating in the street naming. Looks like Brother Walter Brooks is going to be in town.
Nice.
Yes. Speaking on that, Ernie Chambers, spoken word. Elizabeth's going to be doing some. Everybody's going to be out here, man. Miss Joanna LaFleur, Carlos Carr is going to be in the house. Wyshaw Tarlin's going to be there. Everybody going to be out. Senator McKinney. So definitely check that out. And of course, Mr. Leo Lewis is putting this together, and Brother Willie Hamilton from Black Men United. All-star cast of North Omaha folks. It's going to be out there on they'll be on the 33rd and Lake Street, right outside the store there, to commemorate the legacy of Brother Marshall Taylor. Very important thing. Gotta show up to that. 12 o'clock. With that, I guess we'll go ahead and get going, unless you guys got anything else that we need to be talking about here. Looks like no other haps. If you have haps, go ahead and put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha, and we'll definitely go back and check that out. If you missed any parts of this show, then you can go back and watch it in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube. And when you do, please check out the chats. Lots of information in the chat, especially today. Heavy day. Really appreciate everybody who joined us. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, as always, big shout out to the senators for coming through and speaking with us, taking the time out of their busy schedule to drop some jewels on us. Big shout out and thank you to the dynamic duo, the senators, Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne, for speaking with us. Also, like Paul said, big shout out to all of you, the chat chimers, for letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard, adding to the conversation. A lot of good questions, a lot of good information, some good conversations being had today, man. So we appreciate you. Catch the same time, same place, man. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And without further ado, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away.
Ms. Erica Fell says, great show, packed with info, wishing everyone a safe and fulfilling weekend. Drink your water, be good to yourselves. You only get one you. I appreciate that very, very much. Brianna Fool, we're going to come back and address that and see what's going on with the drama that happened there. We'll talk about it on Monday. Pop said, unbelievable show. The senators are extraordinary. Yes, they are. Much love to First Sky fam. Have a great weekend and see you all on Monday. Appreciate it. Josh Tagg in the house. Great show, guys. Everyone have a great weekend. Hand purple, blue, peace. Okay. All right, right on. Amy H. No Dots says, great show. Thank you. Marianne Williams says, have a great weekend all. You guys have a great weekend too. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you on all these important subjects that have to do with us, our community, our neighborhoods. It's invaluable to find out what it is that you think, and also not just what you think, but the information that you bring as well. We're all learning from each other and really appreciate that very, very much. Also very much appreciate all the reoccurring members of the channel as well. $25, $50 people, the $10 people, everybody who has donated on a reoccurring basis to this project here so we can continue these conversations. If you're so inclined, please go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button, and become a reoccurring member of the channel as well. Perks to come. We are working on them daily.
Man.
Yes.
A lot of changes on the horizon. Some good things coming. We appreciate y'all support, y'all continued support. As always, we love you. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves.
Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red